Hey guys, it's Will. A quick update on the AI infrastructure markets. While I'm looking out, I'm seeing these flashes of lightning in Buenos Aires. It's so beautiful. The flashes of green that we've seen over the last few days in the data center markets looked kind of nice to see them kind of bottom out. Couple companies we're notably watching into the next few weeks that are starting to shape up with fundamentals and financials that look really good for the long term. And despite having uncertainty with the Fed, having the Iran war, having Chinese models become talked about more and more and seeming to be competing with US models, which I don't believe is the case at the moment, it seems like actually the main concern is whether or not spend is continuing in the AI data center infrastructure. As you see AI companies scale, big companies like Oracle and AMD and NVIDIA and Tesla and Google and Apple and Microsoft, all those companies, in order to grow more, Palantir, need to have the AI compute, and AI compute is not cheap, and it means that there needs to be more infrastructure built. As a result, many of those companies have been paying very large sums to many of the companies on these lists, the smaller AI infrastructure builders. Now, there's been a tremendous pullback in a lot of these markets. If you look at top companies in these markets, like, for example, IREN or APLD or Keel is a little more speculative, but you look at NBIS or some of these companies that are being talked about, huge sell-offs as of recently, and a huge potential liquidation. Just if you guys aren't aware, you had Leopold. For example, we had Citadel buying Situational Awareness's stock portfolio after huge losses in AI. The firm suffered significant financial losses. AI investor Leopold Aschenbrenner forced to unwind all public stock holdings, as we see the fund peaking at 45 billion and then essentially getting wiped out. So there was a huge sell-off, and what happened was that you had a huge liquidation moment where they had to essentially get out. And it didn't help that right after that, you see some of the funds start to recover. Now, I personally hold APLD, for example. I hold long-term. I also hold TSSI long-term, and I also hold, I have Keel, but they're more speculative. I like NBIS and I like IREN. So what have we been seeing? Well, I just listened to a lot of different earnings this week, including Meta. We listened to Google recently, and even in the Tesla earnings, the biggest thing right now is a lot of these companies are seeing demand from the larger companies. So, for example, $36 billion just in the last year and a half that APLD has secured in contracts. Their market cap still sits at $8 billion. I think they're a really great long-term play, and they're going to make that recovery at some point into $40 to $50, which is a 100% gain. If you look at APLD here, you might say, oh, that sounds really nice, but what is actually going on? Like, why, what do institutions think about that? Well, average targets are $73 a share for APLD. So as they're down here to 25, 26 bucks a share in that little recovery here of about 10% recently, looks good. The other thing to watch is TSSI. So I want to just go through ticker symbol by ticker symbol. So APLD looks good. Sorry if it's rushed. I'm getting ready to go to a dinner with family, but I want you guys to hear the consensus on some of these companies. So TSSI, while a lot of people have a lot of lenience on the smaller cap companies, most companies or most investors are kind of leaning towards Mag 7 or high growth companies that are 20 to 30 or 40% potential annual returns versus some of the companies that might make 100% or 500% gain just because of the certainty. But with TSSI, they're actually supplying and not manufacturing, but configuring the data centers for XAI and some others. And their financials have looked really, really good. Not only did APLD come in with record revenue this last week, TSSI came in with decreased liabilities, increased assets, and their income continues to rally. In the last year, they did 245 million with a positive net income. And then quarterly in 2026, they're already doing 55 million per quarter. And their current market cap only sits at 273 million. They're a baby. So this type of revenue, if you look at 55 million a quarter or these types of numbers, many other companies in the data center markets or AI infrastructure markets are at $2.7 billion, not 277 or 273 million. So that's a 10x potential with TSSI. So I'd love to see them. We've been covering them since $5 a share, so good to see them up to $10. But once again, projections looking good into the longer term for them. Well, actually, let's see. Claude is actually potentially a little negative. I think Gemini was bullish. Generally speaking, it's the technicals that look bearish. Start to see them get rejected, maybe recovering here on that recovery, but ultimately a lot of them getting rejected in the short term. So expect volatility. It's possible. You'd have to be okay with seeing a 10% drawdown, 20% drawdown, 50% drawdown. Some of these companies, as the average swings are about 10%, before seeing that full recovery or longer term growth, if you see the longer term growth. But generally speaking, financials looking really good for them as well. Looking at Supermicro Computer, I think very similar boats. A lot of people question the integrity around them selling chips to China when they shouldn't have been, and questioning their integrity of their financials as they had audits and they had to fire some financial people because some of the audits were not satisfactory, and then they have lawsuits like every other company here has lawsuits. But the main thing I'm talking about here is the fact of their revenue growth and how they're actually positioning. It comes down to, are these companies providing value to the market? Are they actually seeing real value? And then as a result, the measuring stick for that is going to be the dollar amounts that they make in their financial balance sheets. So integrity is, of course, factor that in. It's a factor. Look at that, see how you feel about Supermicro. Personally, I see them as getting more press than others, but I don't see them as a negative intentioned company, and I don't doubt they're going to succeed. See, they've got over $22 billion in the last 2 quarters alone in revenue. Their positive net income margins, they look okay, positive net income, but still 22 billion last 2 quarters. Their market cap still sits at 17 billion. They're on track to grow more, and they've been beat down extremely low, especially as of recently, as they've sold from peaks of $122 down to $28, despite having increased revenue, providing the infrastructure for xAI's Colossus, the largest supercomputer in the world, and the liquid cooling for many of the major data centers powering Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and others. So when it comes to Supermicro, I like them. Oracle as well. We see these pull downs. A lot of this, you could see extended sell-offs. We could get into that moment where we were back in 2022, where we had from 2021 into 2022, and it was just this drastic sell down before we got this massive super rally that we've seen over the last few. But and that could be the case. We could see more sell-offs, but generally speaking, the values are starting to look really favorable for companies like Oracle. So we saw highs of $345 a share. Many people say, software is in trouble. Software is going to get vibe coded, and these companies are going to get replaced. Not the case for companies like Oracle that literally own the infrastructure. They are not easy to replace. You can't vibe code Intuit's tax. You can't vibe code out the massive cloud compute that they've put together for the AI agents that powers the infrastructures of the biggest companies in the world. You can't just vibe code that out. So some of these software companies like Oracle, I think are going to just continue to roar, but they've sold down so dramatically, the scarcity is high. But starting to break out above the EMA, starting to reverse, is when things start to look more favorable. And the reversals are potentially large. We're talking 40% to previous highs, 166%. NBIS is another one we're watching very closely. They've had their volatility. They've spiked at $299.86, and they're down to $190 now. They have a lot of infrastructure, and they currently are renting out their compute to companies. And they recently launched a new segment of their business that allows companies like, let's say, Keel, who hasn't had proven contracts, so they're more speculative because they have like 5-10 data centers and they're sustainably sourced. They got hydroelectric, water, and other things like liquid cooling, and pretty well updated AI infrastructure. that used to be Bitcoin mining but has been converted, and they don't have any new deals. So people are like seeing them as more volatile, more risky, but potentially a good play. And as a result, like how are they going to get their infrastructure rented out? The demand is there. They go to a company like NBIS. NBIS actually has really good connections with like Microsoft, and they've got deals with major Mag 7 companies. And what you could see as NVIDIA backs them as well is that they are going to allow companies like Keel to plug in, and they're selling, maybe at a retail, the AI compute. So they're also giving companies like Keel the opportunity to tap into the market easily. That's just a really good move by them that they added on to their already existing infrastructure. And so one thing to note, companies like Meta, yeah, they are building, OpenAI is kind of like building some AI infrastructure, but ultimately they kind of were quieter this last quarter. And Meta, for example, seemed to be focusing on less on building more infrastructure and instead, just focusing on optimizing what we currently have. Not necessarily saying demand isn't there anymore, but just saying like from a growth perspective and where they're focusing, a lot of bigger tech companies would rather outsource to these smaller companies, which is why they would grow more. Now, the other ones we're going to be watching into the next week is IREN. That's going to be a top one to watch. And then CoreWeave as well. See, they've sold off since their IPO, and we actually were anticipating a 40% sell down here from 87 down to 59. They continue to sell off. This is their trend. We've really actually nailed it, as we've literally just been extending this ever since their IPO. And they continue to sell down as well. So CoreWeave, still bearish as well, but one to watch as they're an AI hyperscaler that has, maybe they continue this trend down. They sell down even further, but they are getting pretty hammered now, and they're down to that previous support level that we saw back here in 2025, around that $60 range. And that's where they're kind of at now for a potential bounce up into those $87 ranges. Or even in the short term, maybe up to 95, which is offering about a 20 to 30% margin for profit. But the longer term, even a little bit uncertain, as they recently IPO'd. I would just kind of be careful with them. They look good though. They got some good deals. APLD is looking good as well. But generally speaking, I wanted to just jump on here, give you guys some insight into some of those tickers. Some of them are less certain, and just because they're on the list doesn't mean that they're like really good long term. And if you want to go into them deeper, you can always schedule a call with me if you'd like to talk with my team or have me work with you one-on-one with your portfolio. Some examples of what I was working on today with multiple clients was, for example, splitting out portfolios into, let's say, this portion is space tech, this portion is data center, this portion is robotics, this portion is semiconductors and quantum, or here's 10% that's more speculative. And it's not me necessarily telling you what to buy or sell. It's not me essentially telling you should do this, you should do that, but really just allowing you to exercise some of the discipline that you need in your portfolio. And if you need to have the guessing taken out a little bit, you need to have more allocation planned, or even just knowing the quality of the companies. There was like 20 stocks I went through today with clients where it was just literally checking financials and then saying, hey, liabilities are way greater than the assets. You sure you want to be in this? No, I heard it on YouTube. Someone told me to buy it. I don't really like it. So it's sometimes just getting rid of toxic plays as well. If that's you want to get in there, make sure to check the first link in the description, and let's work together inside your portfolio or see if it could be the right fit for you. Depending on how much you're working with, it definitely may be the right fit for you. And then a lot of investors are in our daily live trading sessions. We just wrapped up today. If you want to tune on in, you can get lifetime access to our daily live trading in the second link in the description below. That includes a link 15 minutes before market open where you can watch me trade live. We were trading this morning and this week in the data center markets. We had some really good volatility, caught a short on QBTZ and a profit for $450 profit this morning on APLX, I believe. If I go to our recent deal, let's see how it was this morning. We got in this morning, $483 profit we locked in this morning on APLD inside of those sessions. So If you want to take the guessing out, you want to learn how to invest in those markets, then have a look at the second link below, as it's not getting any better than this. You can get lifetime access, and it's not a subscription or anything like that, in the second link below. And if you want to get access to Prophecy, use these tools that we just used to do the analysis. It's the third link in the description below as well. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.